Audience.
Hi, guys. Hello.
Hello, hello. Hailey, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a new founder.
I am a brand new founder.
You're in good company. Tell us about the company you founded.
So I founded my brand called Rhode, and it is a skincare and beauty brand.
What made you want to enter this dangerous, terrifying world of entrepreneurship?
Honestly, I've always been very, very obsessed with skincare. It's something that I've always loved and felt really passionate about. And as a kid, I can remember my mom and my grandma also being very skincare and beauty obsessed, so I think they infused that into me from a very, very young age. And then when I started working and modeling, I was able to work with a lot of really amazing makeup artists and estheticians and facialists, and I was able to really absorb so much knowledge and information from working with and meeting those people. And I think it really helped me form my philosophy around skincare and beauty. And I felt like when the pandemic came around, I really finally had the time to pursue that vision.
So it was less one single moment, like a bad makeup artist made you break out and you're like, I have to fix this. It was more an evolution?
No, it was more really positive experiences with makeup artists and different people where they would be using different products and they were telling me their tips and their tricks and their secrets of how they would get, the most glowing skin for a photo shoot. So I was able to really kind of just ask a lot of questions and learn from them, and it has, helped me develop my beauty philosophy.
I know you're really hands-on with the products. Can you talk about the trial and the error and maybe even the reformulations that you had to go through to get Rhode to where it is today?
Oh my goodness. So I'm very, very picky when it comes to skincare and formulas, and literally the biggest goal for me with this brand was to have really efficacious and effective formulas that felt very luxurious and expensive at an affordable price. And it honestly just took a lot of trial and error. Some of the products that are now out in the final products, they took 16 rounds of reformulation just because I would get it, it would be this close, and then I would be like, I think it can be that much, that little bit better, and I just kept fighting to make it that much better until I felt like we had really nailed it.
And now you feel like you've nailed it.
I hope so.
I think customers agree. I know it has sold out in seconds. I know Allure already has given it a beauty award for 2022. Can you quantify some of the success and how fast it's flying out of your hands?
It's been really, really crazy, and the response has been so amazing, and it has so far exceeded my hopes and my dreams for the company, and I feel really grateful for that. I think one example would be our peptide glazing fluid. In the last 2 restocks, we sold 24 units per second, which is insane. And I'm really, really happy and just excited for the future of the brand. We also have had over 600,000 people on the wait list, which is also just insane. And it kind of feels like it hasn't hit me in a lot of ways yet, but I just don't know what else to say except I'm really grateful.
I mean, I was seeing articles back when you were about to launch that was like, it's finally here. And I would say,
that's how I felt. I was like, it's finally coming.
But not every entrepreneur gets that amount of attention. Yeah. Did that give you a boost of confidence, or was the public eye extra stress as you were launching this company?
No, I think it gave me a boost of confidence, and it actually just gave me more of a drive to want to keep pushing forward and continue to make really great formulas and great packaging and have the aesthetic that we have in the brand, because I am now able to see the way that people are receiving it, and I think that just motivates me even more.
So I asked your team about when was your first runway show, what was your first major ad campaign, and talk about a 30 under 30. I think your first major fashion show was 2014. Mm-hmm. Your first major ad campaign was 2015. Can you remind the audience of your age right now?
Right now I'm 25. I'll be 26 in November.
But how has all of that experience added or helped your entrepreneurial experience? You were a creative, you had all this time in the industry. How do you think that makes you a better founder and a better leader?
I think coming from the modeling industry and kind of that world of editorial, the way that it's helped me the most is being around so many other amazing creative people. I think that it really helps, or at least it really helped me just find so much inspiration. I really love one of my favorite parts of modeling was always doing editorial shoots because I felt like they were just so creative and so different, and you get to work with so many different people and watch so many different people's process. And I think that as entrepreneurs, as creatives, we all learn from each other. And I think that that really helped me with my vision because I felt really inspired.
What has been the hardest part about being a new entrepreneur?
The hardest part for me is I am a crazy perfectionist, and I've had to accept the fact that there is no such thing as a perfect launch that doesn't have its bumps and mishaps and things that happen. But what I'm learning, this has been the biggest learning process for me, and what I'm learning is that the mistakes are really part of the process, and you have to accept those mistakes and be able to learn from them so that you can actually improve your brand and help drive it forward.
I recently finished a Brené Brown book where she talks about perfectionism as one of the biggest
I need that book.
Oh, there are a few of them, and my best friend was like, you need to read all of them. But it's true, it's making a misstep. You see what went wrong, you fix, you adapt, you move forward.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of the process.
I think our mistakes actually help make us better as people when we choose to learn from them, and I think when you have a brand, it helps you just create an even better brand.
We have a question here that actually dovetails with one of my own. You know, skincare is a really competitive industry. What have you done to help Rhode stand out? Is it your own aesthetic? Is it your own persona? Or is it something in the formulation, do you think?
Well, a lot of my goals for the brand were around the actual product itself and the formulas. I really wanted them to be super effective at a really affordable price and find that balance. And then also, I have infused so much of myself into this brand. So when people got a hold of the product, I really wanted them to feel like they were having an experience and that they could feel my vibe through the brand. So it's a combination of really wanting to create more innovative formulas. I don't really want to put out anything where people feel like, oh, I kind of feel like I've seen this before. It feels similar to something else. It feels too familiar. I really am very focused on innovation within the brand, and also just the aesthetic is so important to me.
Well, to that note, we actually have this really fabulous question. What do you think is more important to develop a successful brand, authenticity or aesthetics?
Ooh. I think it's a combination of both, to be honest. I think when people feel that a brand, especially coming from a celebrity, is not authentic, I just don't think anyone is interested in that. So I think that I think authenticity is extremely important. And then just for me personally, aesthetic was really important. So I really wanted to find the balance of both, and I want to continue having it be a balance of both. So I can't just pick one or the other. They're both very important to me.
It's a yes and answer.
It's a yes and.
Now, you talked about infusing Rhode with your own sensibility, your own vibe and aesthetic. How do you then handle the stress of marketing and always being on?
I feel like for me, with the marketing of Rhode, it has always flowed very naturally, because this is honestly the first time where I've gotten to take the reins 100% in something that I've put my face to and that I've put my name on, that this is really my first time being a true creative director for anything. And I think that the marketing has just come really naturally from me really believing in what we're doing at Rhode.
How do you separate Rhode from your professional Hailey image, from Hailey, regular person who grew up dancing?
I really kind of feel like they all mesh in a lot of ways. So much of my personality, so much of what I love, so much of my creativity that I just have in my day-to-day life is so infused into Rhode. And like I said before, my hope was really that people could have an experience with it, and they could feel like they feel me and see me in the product and in the packaging and in every part of it. And yeah, I just feel like another part of it is finding different ways and tools to be able to open myself up to like my audience more and my customer more. And I feel like a way that I've done that is through starting a YouTube channel. And I really wanted to find a space that made me feel comfortable to be able to connect with the audience and be able to have people get to know me in a different way, because I want people to feel like they're having an authentic experience with me as much as that's possible through social media.
It's always a little tricky. But I did want to ask you, because I know you don't love interviews. I know you don't, you've kind of talked about how the YouTube channel helped you. But what made you want to do this interview? What made you want to start a company that puts you even more in the public eye than you already are?
I think it was just that I had a vision. I had a really strong desire to want to do it. And I think that I've had to accept that when you step into that realm, you are opening yourself up more, and you do need to be more vulnerable with people and be able to have good conversations. And being here is just honestly an honor for me, and I feel really grateful to be here and talk with you and be with you guys.
We have a really good follow-up question. You guys are good journalists. We were talking about mistakes. Is there a mishap or a mistake that you made that you've already dealt with? And what were the lessons from that moment?
I think like one mishap that I can share that I think to me felt like a really big deal but was not a really big deal is that in your packaging, when you're selecting the colors, sometimes what happens is there's a range when you pick one color where it's a little bit lighter or a little bit darker, and it's never actually perfect. So the boxes, the cartons that our product came in were not the color that I exactly wanted them to be. And I was very sad about it, but in hindsight, it's actually really not a big deal, and that was just something that I had to learn is a part of the process, and it's something that we can fix moving forward in the future. And another thing too is I think if you were to ask any business right now about supply chain issues, we have faced that as well. So there's a lot of things that I've learned are just completely out of our control, and we can only really adjust and learn as we go.
We've talked a lot up here about how it's been a challenging macro environment, so you have felt that on the supply chain side too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
How have you navigated that?
I think just, we couldn't really estimate too much before we launched what we were going to need. But I think now that we've launched and we have the numbers in front of us and the correct analytics, it's helped us so much be able to plan for the future. But before then, there was, we didn't know what we didn't know.
A lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
To the point about, you were kind of touching on mental health before, and we have a question. How do you prioritize your mental health, and exactly what do you do in starting this company? We know being a founder is tremendously stressful. What are things that you have found helpful in this moment?
I think that having a really amazing team around you is important. I would not be able to do any of this without the amazing women on the road team that have been literally the only reason why any of this is possible. So I think being able to have that, and they're just amazing people, and they're really encouraging, and they really help keep everything as smooth as possible. I think in terms of mental health, it can be really, really hard sometimes, and I think sometimes it's important to take a step back and stay off of social media sometimes, which is something that I struggle with, and I have to be intentional about not reading comments and taking breaks and not looking. I think sometimes as humans we look for the bad. We look for that one bad comment, or we look for that one bad review. And so I've had to be as intentional as possible to not do that. So.
We only have about a minute left, and in that minute I want to know what's next for Hailey Bieber, what's next for Rode, what are you looking forward to in 2023?
I look forward to putting out new products. We launched with 3 products, and I really want to just continue focusing on great formulas, innovative formulas, great packaging, and continuing to get Rode in everyone's hands.
And final thoughts, what's your advice for anyone in this audience who wishes to start their own company and hasn't taken that leap yet?
I would say that be prepared for the mishaps and be prepared to make mistakes, and it's okay for that to happen, and you can learn from it, and it will help you just to drive your brand forward and continue to make a better brand.
Excellent. Well, with that, we are out of time, unfortunately. Hailey, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to all of you for tuning in all day.